have representation and. Okay. You can sit, both of you can sit.
I didn't want to presume.
There'll be space.
I'll sit over by Kevin.
Did you get an agenda?
Yes.
Okay, Jay, do you have the agenda then?
No.
Okay.
I would.
Yeah. Good morning.
Good.
Jamie, here's your name so you don't forget.
Oh, thanks, I don't forget who I am.
New members.
I know, this is a good time because the puppy's sleeping in his crate, the horses are all taken care of.
Does anybody need an
Yes,
agenda?
please.
There you go, Kevin.
Yesterday was a good meeting in person. Haven't we met before in person? Oh.
On the human services
My
side.
memory's good. It's just a little short.
What in a pen?
Yeah, I think I had to, my husband's gone, so I'm like in charge of everything, and during afternoon is the worst time. It's 4 o'clock, the horses are out, fed at 5, and the dogs are crazy then, and so. Yeah, it's fine when I'm not in charge.
Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's 10:30, so we'll get underway, and let's go around the room and introduce ourselves before we get too far into the meeting. Melissa, do you want to start, and then we'll go Jessica's way?
Sure, yes. Good morning. So my name is Melissa Youngbauer, and I am the ADRC supervisor. Thanks for coming.
Jessica Rutherford, I'm the administrative specialist over at the ADRC.
Iowa Stalin and new member. Beth Killian from Arcadia. Jenny Bold from Strum.
Alan Robertson from Blair.
Kevin Adams from Arcadia County Board Member.
Jay Hine, Deputy Director of Human Services.
Jeannie Nutter, County Board Supervisor I live in rural Strum.
And I'm Scott Brown from the Whitehall area, currently chairman of the board. We're going to have elections today, so that may change. We'll see. So thank you for coming, everybody. We actually have a quorum today, so that we can actually have a meeting. So that's wonderful. We had a lot of people that missed last time, so we just kind of went through the motions and didn't accomplish much, but it was always good. It's always good to see everybody. So I'll call the meeting to order. Open meeting law has been met through the proper posting. We have an agenda in front of us. I'd entertain a motion to approve the agenda. Beth? Okay.
Second.
Okay, thank you both. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you. We didn't have minutes of the February meeting. There was a write-up. Thanks, Jessica, for that. It's pretty much told us who was here, and that was about it. So I don't think we have to approve that since there's no official minutes. It says adopt, but they're not really minutes, so I think we'll just pass on that. So up to ADRC staffing updates.
So for a good long time, we really didn't have staffing updates because the ADRC staff had been so consistent. If we would have met in February, I would have talked about some staff changes, but now we have more staff changes. So we do have a few things to report. I just want you to be all aware and familiar with the staffing patterns and who's who right now. So we met Jessica. So Jessica Rutherford was initially hired as a temporary employee to fill in a gap. She was hired through Kelly Services, and she started officially back. Do you remember what your starting date was?
Through Kelly was January 27th, and then through here was February 21st.
It really turned out great because we loved working with Jessica. She did a good job. She kept learning more and more, and she's just got along great with the team. And we convinced her that we were a good bunch to work for and work with. So she stayed on. So
I can testify that she said she loved everybody over there before she was hired, so.
yeah.
I can see why you guys asked her to stay.
Yeah, she's just a great fit. So we're happy to have Jessica. So Jessica is doing a lot of the calls that are coming in for transportation. So she's one of the main people that when you call in that you're going to get Jessica. So we're thankful to have her a part of the team. Sammy had been in that previous in this position previously as an admin specialist. Sammy filled the spot that was vacated by Ashley Brecky. So Sammy Becker, if you remember Sammy, she used to be the one with the long blonde hair that took the minutes. She is now the nutrition and transportation director. So I'm sure we'll have Sammy back. She's at a training today. She's getting her Serve Safe certification today to be able to be out in one of, that's required of that position, that nutrition position. She needs to learn all about food safety. So she's doing that today. And then we had a couple changes with our social workers. Dana Conrad has been part of this department for, I think, somewhere around 30 or 33 years, something like that. Yes, forever. She had been doing adult protective services, and she has since moved into one of our INA or one of our social work roles at the ADRC. So we are happy to say we are filling that APS position. We have somebody starting on Monday. So Dana will be able to then help train that adult protective services staff and then really be able to dig in and do the ADRC social work role. Unfortunately, we also then had Michelle Brown, who had been in her position for probably 4 years. She started out as our dementia care specialist. She is from Buffalo County, so she loved working for our ADRC. What she had said was the good work that we have been doing in our communities and getting out and working in the community you live in was important to her, so she chose to become employed with Buffalo County. We currently have Michelle's position then open, and so we I believe are going to be reposting that position. We don't have a candidate to fill that, so if you do know of any social workers, we would want you to send them our way. So lots of changes, some for the good. Yeah, but we've got that open position now we're wanting to fill that as soon as possible.
Okay, very good, thank you. We, without fanfare, we just had Dora Jean Blaha walk into the room, so thank you for gracing us with your presence today, Dora Jean, we appreciate it. Oh, boy. There's the seat, yeah. I was going to say, I almost walked this morning thinking there might not be any place to park, but I'm about a mile away. Okay, ADRC Council membership and election of officers. And Melissa just talked briefly about the fact that Lois has recently resigned, so her position opened up. But we have the good fortune of having a couple other people who have decided they would like to be a part of the ADRC. And Betty Vold, who is sitting here and got introduced a little bit earlier, is one of the two, and the other is Rachel Herman. Rachel can't be here today. She's volunteering at the senior lunch over in Strum today, so that's a good thing to be, good excuse to not be here. And I understand that the Human Services Board voted them both in last night. So that's a good endorsement. We don't have a lot of say because we're just an advisory committee, but we could go through the motions if you would like and present a motion to approve both Betty and Rachel as members of the ADRC.
I would so move.
And I would, oh, okay.
So we have a motion and a couple of seconds to approve both Betty and Rachel to our committee. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you and welcome. We appreciate your future input and even input today. I mean, you're here. You're on the board. So that's great. We also need to elect officers every year. We couldn't do it last time we got together because we didn't have a quorum. So we have president, vice president that we need to fill.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
I would nominate Scott Brown to serve as our chairman.
I would second that.
okay, thank you. Any other nominations for president or chairperson? Do I need to say that 3 times? Any other nominations for chairperson of the ADRC? We'll make it official. Any other nominations for chairperson of the ADRC? Is there a motion for nominations to be closed?
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, there's a motion, second, nominations be closed. And I suppose since I'm the only nominee, you could vote on the closure of the nominations and me into the position at the same time. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you for your support.
You do a fine job.
Well, thank you. Thank you. So we'll open the nominations for a vice chair for the ADRC.
I would nominate Iola if you're interested. That's okay. You might as well just jump right in.
Both feet.
You have previous medical and so forth experience, I think we'll do that. I will second that.
Okay, there's been a motion and second for Iola to be the vice chair, or for the vice chair position. Are there any other nominations? Any other nominations for vice chair? Any other nominations for vice chair?
Move the nominations be closed. We cast unanimous ballot for Iola.
Second.
Motion carries, or motion has been made to cast a unanimous ballot. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
I'm sure Scott can help in any other ways.
You'll be fine. Because it's like 65 degrees outside already. And it's always hot down here.
Yeah, I'm kind of warm up here too, and I'm just sleeveless. So.
I'm gonna go get coffee.
All right. Very good. Thanks, everybody. That was pretty smooth. Council Roundtable. We've been talking for months about opportunities to get to know each other. And I think it would be nice if we can go around and just sort of, I don't know how long we want to give. I suppose I could start with, I'll try a little bit. I actually was born and raised in Rhinelander, Wisconsin. Ended up leaving there in my mid-20s. The marriage that I was in at the time didn't work out real well, so I ended up moving to Arcadia area, living and working in a group home for adults with developmental disabilities. It was New Concepts Foundation way back in the 70s, and they're not even around anymore, but it was an interesting time. And I've been working, and professional in the area of helping people with developmental disabilities almost my entire career in various and sundry ways. Currently involved in, I think I counted 12 different organizations right now. I think 6 of them I'm either the president or the chair or the vice chair. I'm also a lay minister at this time, and so I've filled in 14 different churches over the last 5 years. And currently, two weekends a month, I fill in for Foggerness Lutheran Church up on the hill on County D and N there. And it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy getting to meet people and see different congregations, and that kind of gets me out of the house now and then. So that's me. Melissa, do you want to?
And we love it when you fill it in Chimney Rock.
Yeah, but don't ask me very often anymore. That's right.
I think, and you spoke a little bit to this, but I think what might be interesting and helpful to me would be maybe like as a council member, are there specific areas that you're really passionate about, or what you kind of looking at this next year, anything that you would like to see us tackle, or like any goals that you would have?
Yeah, well, in that regard, of course, my expertise was with people with developmental disabilities, but I also had people that had mental health issues. I'm currently the president of the NAMI, National Alliance on Mental Illness in Trempealeau County, and am elderly. I'm 70 years old now, so I cover all those bases, and I love everything that the ADRC does and stands for and is helping with, and more that we can improve upon that or expand upon that within resources, I think would be wonderful. So, thank you.
Thank you. I will just speak for just a minute and just kind of remind people that I've been at the ADRC now for about 2 years. If you talk to a lot of people that are in the ADRC world, they say that you need to be there for about 5 years before you kind of feel like you kind of sort of know what you're doing. So thank you, Dora, Jean. I have been a social worker pretty much my whole career, so I've worked and done like ongoing case management pretty much for about 25 years. Enjoying this opportunity. I really enjoy just being, just the opportunity with kind of just like the big picture. I feel like we and I have just a great opportunity to really make a difference in our county. And that's what excites me. That's what makes me want to go to work in the morning. And I just think it's really important work that we do. I've really just, and we'll talk a little bit about this when we talk about our annual report. My goal is just to continue to raise awareness about the ADRC and all the great programs and services that we can provide. So.
Oh, okay, that's weird. You're good. All right. I worked for the Trempealeau County Health Department here for 5.5 years, a lot of years ago. And helped my parents build their businesses, and now that we've sold them and they've passed away, I just really wanted to get back to helping people. That's where my heart lies. I was a CNA for a very long time, a volunteer first responder for a lot of years, and yeah, just got my degree in medical billing and coding and just needed a home, and I found it.
Welcome.
Thank you.
You might have to sit a little close.
I was born in Oliva in 1933. That was a great start. My mother said when I was born she knew she had trouble because all us children were born at home, and she had a big box of buttons, and I kicked them off the table when the midwife was cleaning me up. So she said, "Oh, Lordy, she's going to be trouble." But I enjoy life. I have been in the courthouse here in several committees way since about 1989. I've been very busy here, but I get here late sometimes. Today it was tractors and stuff, but no, I enjoy doing what I do, and I hope that, when you're almost 90, you don't know when you have to quit, but I'm keeping on going. As long as they don't take my car away. And I have informed my family that if I hear that they're thinking of taking my car away, I'm going to make sure I've got all the keys, and I'm going to get in that car and refuse to get out.
Good for you.
So that's me.
And you met the Pope when you were like 87 years old.
I'm 89.
Okay. That's my favorite.
My name is Iola Stallings. I'm not from Wisconsin. I was born in Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and after that it was just on the road because my father was in the military. He retired in Atlanta. That's another story. We won't get into that. That's where my family, most of my family, are. They're in Georgia. First chance I got, I left. I never liked it. I don't like heat, so this was like, yay. Came here because my son got married and had my first grandchild, and I had an excuse to leave, and I took it. And I have not regretted it one day. The only regrets I have is that I lost both of my parents and, close family members, and kind of glad, wish I'd been there a little bit more involved, but it wasn't how that worked out. So, and I don't have any sisters, and and so I'm kind of like an only child right now, an orphan, an old orphan. But, so yeah, and my background as far as work is concerned, I have an IT background. I worked for AT&T for like 14 years as a system administrator, and then I took an early retirement from them, and kind of had my own business doing houses and things like that when that was a hot thing to do, and I learned how to sheet rock, so I can do stuff like that, and I can plug holes, and no electricity, nothing like that. I'm good with that. And then came here and started working for Mayo. Got me an associate's in health information technology because I wanted to do working with health records and things like that, and love that job. But when COVID hit, I lost a lot more people, and I decided that I needed to make a change and figure out what it was I really, really wanted to do for me. So I had an opportunity to help my son out, and I bought a farm out in Ettrick. And I love it, but I have no idea what I'm doing. I no idea what I'm doing. So, but I'm learning, I am. have tried animals and all that. They don't like me. I like dogs. That's it. I had pigs. They tried to uproot there's a little cemetery on the corner, and they tried to uproot the people that were dead there. And when I got home from work, I saw them all up in there, and I thought, oh God, I'm going to jail. You know what I mean? Because I didn't know how to get them back. I didn't know what I'm supposed to say, and all that. They just broke out, and I kept trying to figure out, where is the hole? How'd they get out? And when a lady pulled over, she saw my desperation, bless her heart. She said, I'll help you get them back. And she said something, and they just kind of went back through the wire. They didn't break anything. They just kind of walked through and came on back, Yeah, so anyway, so that's kind of been my experience here, and it's been an adventure since I walked into Wisconsin. And so, yeah, I love it. I do. Snow and all, cold and all, love it. So, yeah.
I love it too. I love winter.
I do. I just haven't been bold enough to fall out and do the snow angel because I don't want my neighbors to call the cops. Say, I think she's lost her mind. Come and get her.
They might come out and join you.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, so yeah, thank you.
I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Beth Killian is a native of Arcadia, taught elementary school for 37 and a half years, and decided to retire. And then I served for two years, one term as the town of Arcadia clerk. And they were going to combine the clerk and treasurer together, so I said, I'm done because I'm not dealing with money and taxes. So then I joined the county board for 6 years, and was unseated last April, I believe, which I was kind of disappointed, but I don't feel bad at all because I get to travel more and do things and not feel guilty about missing meetings. Spent the last 3 months in Arizona, just came back last Sunday. It was the coldest winter there in 40 years. So I don't think I missed much in Wisconsin because we had it down there. But enjoy being on the ADRC board. I'm still kind of learning, try and promote the organization and talk to people, and probably more interested in everything, but trying to get people to go to the senior dining sites.
Well, I'm Betty Volt, and I live on the same corner as I grew up on. My home farm is just across the road, and it's west of Strum. And my husband and I have been there, going on put near 60 years. We've been married 57 years, and that. So, and I worked for the Sheriff's Department for 34 years. Started out as dispatch, jailer, and when the dispatch parted, then I stayed with the jail and was jail sergeant there for many years. And I loved the job. I miss the job yet. I miss the people. I even miss the inmates. And they are people. And so they need, guidance, they need help and stuff. And I've also worked part-time for Human Services, and I've enjoyed that. I've worked at the ADRC office also, so I got to meet some very special older people, and there's a couple that still I think about once in a while, and hopefully that they're doing well. And I'm, really looking forward to this as to learning more about it, because when you just come in as part-time, you don't get to work with all the pieces of the area. So it's like I just want to learn.
I'm Alan Robertson, sometimes introduce myself as Omar Sharif, but we won't get into that.
You do look like him. If your mustache was more dark.
I don't know how to play bridge. I moved here with my wife and oldest child in April of 1968. I've had an opportunity. I served briefly as an assistant district attorney. I've served 3 terms in the Wisconsin Assembly. I was the city attorney for the city of Blair for 51 years. I'm now retired, although I still do a few odds and ends. And did I say I was retired? Yes, I retired. Although I do have a couple of things I work on from time to time. And I've enjoyed the opportunity to be a part of this advisory council.
Weren't you a judge as well?
Actually, I was a judge, but reapportionment changed the district considerably, and things got a little crazy. John Damon defeated me in a real tight election, but I had a great experience.
Hello, I'm Kevin Adams. Again, Arcadia area. I'm on the county board. My day job is also working with people with developmental disabilities, primarily youth. So I thought I could bring that experience to not only the ADRC, but the county board. It's a good job, but it's a challenging job. We work with seniors and adults too, but primarily youth, so I get that developmental background. And the people that have developmental disabilities and mental health, they get horrible stigma in the community. So I want to bring awareness that they're humans too. And unfortunately, in some areas, the people with mental illness and their development disabilities are giving the same treatment, if not worse, than actual convicted felons. So I could go down that road. It's a very sensitive subject, but just bringing awareness to people with aging and disability can bring the real-life experience. And I do, also like Mr. Chairman Brown, I do have some kind of church leadership experience too that I can bring also. Thank you.
Well, I'm Jay Hine, and so much like Kevin and Scott, I've worked with folks with disabilities since, the mid-90s, maybe, or early 90s maybe. And actually I worked with Scott probably about 20 years ago when I was with Riverfront, so, and he was with Trempealeau County, so that was, feels like the blink of an eye. But, so yeah, that's kind of, so I've worked with folks with all kinds of disabilities, a lot of folks with developmental disabilities, mental illness as well, the kind of the spectrum of services as a service provider, and then I was in the managed care world with Care Wisconsin and with Inclusa for about 9 years or so, and then the position here opened up and it was a great fit. So I know a large portion of what we do, but there's an even larger portion that I'm still learning about as far as like child welfare and recovery court and some of the behavioral health programs as well. But I've had some peripheral knowledge of a lot of those programs in the past as well. But yeah, I'm learning, and I kind of like what Jessica said. I've found a home, so I hope to be here till I retire.
Well, good. Can you put that in writing?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm Jeannie Nutter. I have lived in our home in Strum since 1987. I'm not from Wisconsin, from Illinois. I was a Cubs fan, but turned to a Brewers fan, and a Packer fan. My whole life has been in social work. I went to school in Madison, and that's how I stayed in Wisconsin. Worked for Dane County. My life has been child welfare, which is my passion. But as I've aged, you know how I feel about my passion in this group is to support people who feel isolated. And we did a study, Guar did a study for us, and I just cannot get that out of my head, you both know that, about the elderly people in our community who see no one, maybe, except the person who delivers meals to them. And that is something that I really worry about, because isolation leads to depression, and depression can lead to death by suicide. I mean, it's just something that really I'm so worried about our elderly population. So that is my passion. I'm also on the county board. I was driven to the county board via environmental issues because I feel very passionate about our planet. And I'm very glad that I'm doing this. People say that I'm not retired. I did retire after 40-some years in social work. I taught social work classes for UW-Madison and UW-Eau Claire for 10 years, but I'm not doing that. So the only thing I'm doing now is the county board, which takes up a lot of my time these days. We're very busy. And I love my work. I love where I live. I love Trempealeau County. It is like so beautiful. I took the back roads here today and just was glad to see the snow disappearing and things starting to bloom and the hills. It's just a beautiful place. So I'm home as well.
Well, thanks, everyone. That was very enlightening. We see each other at meetings, and this is our view, but it's just sort of two-dimensional in a way. So it's nice to get to know that there's a lot more behind every face that we see, and so much depth in what you have done. So thank you for sharing that. We've been talking about doing this for a long time. I'm glad we finally got a chance to do it. So thank you. Council roundtable, or let's see, the annual report. Just checked off the council roundtable. While Melissa's doing that, I'm going to get some more coffee.
Okay. It's good coffee. Really?
This room's always either super hot or super cold, there's no happy medium. Hopefully we won't have that in the new county board. I'm looking forward to that.
So we passed around our 2022 annual report. So Jay Hine, who is with us, put this annual report together. This report will actually go to the county board on Tuesday. So Jeannie and Kevin, you've probably gotten a copy of this, but I don't think you've heard us present this yet, right? Oh, you have? Oh, Human Services, okay.
I don't think it's gone to the big board.
It hasn't, so I think that'll go on Tuesday. So you are all, some of you may be seeing it before some of the actual board have had a chance to review it, however. I'm not going to, go through the entire report, but I do think it's good for you to just to have this and just kind of see what our department is doing as a whole and how we're related. And I'm just going to take some time to just highlight a little bit about the ADRC. So the ADRC portion itself starts on page 4. So just start by saying the ADRC has its own mission statement, which is pretty simple. It reads that the ADRC will provide quality, efficient, and effective services and information to people 60 years and older and disabled adults. So our goal in 2022 was really to raise awareness of all of the great core programs and services that the ADRC already has, and again, to better reach the target populations we serve. So if you look at the report, it does have our year-end numbers. And so I'm really, just proud to say that we did accomplish what we set out to do. We did provide more of our core services to our target population than really ever before in almost every category. So that's great. We set out to reach more people and serve more people, and we did just that. We feel that our goal was really met through a few different things. We did start our new Facebook page this past year, and we've reached a lot of people with that. We do have questions about, well, gosh, do older people, are they on Facebook? Yeah, they really are. Yes, yes. So if you take just one of our most recent, most seen posts was about 2 weeks ago. We had posted that ADRC social work position that was open. Over 2,500 people saw that post. So we're able to go in and see who's seeing it, how many people are seeing it, how many people are sharing it, commenting. That many people saw that post. We are getting a lot of comments on that Facebook page. We are trying to do a really good mix of just community events, education, and just a variety. We're trying to just make it a site that people want to go to and see what we're up to. So I think it's working. I would encourage you, if you're on Facebook, to check it out if you haven't done so already. Another thing that we did in the past year is we significantly increased our newsletter distribution, which is up to 1,800 hard copies. So we're printing 1,800 copies of this right now, and we're really making an effort. We have ADRC staff that are assigned to each community that are getting out and distributing those newsletters. Back when I started, and again, that was COVID times, but it was 500, and we weren't going through 500. We were probably distributing about half of that at that time. And now, right now, we have a stack of about this many left. that many. So they're getting out there and people are seeing what we're doing.
And there's so much good information.
I think so. We
And
work
that-
really
and that-
hard on that.
I always read it from cover to cover, so
Good. Yeah.
it's very good.
That's good to hear. One other thing is, and I think this is the reason that we're really touching more people, is we are really deliberately wanting to get out and have a meaningful presence in as many communities that we can. So we're doing more outreach than ever before in places like our senior meal sites. So when you're going to senior meals and you're very often you're seeing ADRC staff or our volunteers at those sites are promoting our programs and activities. So that's another way that we've reached more people this last year. Lastly, what I just want to touch briefly on, we're just always working on creating more partnerships to support that mission. And so that's what I really want to look to you all, is on feedback of who else should we be working with? What are other potential partners and opportunities out there? In the last year, we have started working with businesses, community centers, schools, libraries, healthcare providers, and more. And these partnerships are allowing us to reach more people and to do more good work. These partnerships are helping us provide opportunities to address the social isolation and loneliness that we've seen in our counties, and just providing for opportunities for people to gather, opportunities for activities. And these opportunities are just making our county a better place to live and to be in. Also, just wanted to briefly mention the importance of our volunteers. In 2022, we have over 50 volunteers, and those volunteers have worked more than 5,000 hours. We track every month what work people are doing, and I think that's just amazing. I think that's also surprising. And we wouldn't be able to do what we do without our incredible volunteers. Our nutrition and transportation programs rely really heavily on our volunteers. So for example, yesterday, things fell through the cracks where I came in from my lunch and I looked at Jessica as I came in the door, and her face looked like this. And I said, what's going on? What's wrong? And she said, we just got a call from one of the home delivered meal recipients in Whitehall. And normally on Mondays, Whitehall School District, we have our National Honor Society that is delivering those meals. We forgot there was no school yesterday. And so she then got up and she said, I'm going out and I'm delivering those meals, and got them going. But and that's just an example of the great work. Somebody like Jessica, just invaluable. Yes, yeah. But that's just a great example of just the situation that we have, right? Jessica jumped in, but those students, that is a partnership we developed in the last year. Right now in Whitehall, we have Tri-County delivering 1 day a week, so that's great. And then we have a teacher and a paraprofessional student, so she's paraprofessional that is taking a student every week, and they deliver the meals on Tuesdays. So what a great opportunity, right? What great life skills this paraprofessional is teaching that student. What wonderful real life experiences, right? But so we need more volunteers. There's not a week that goes by where one of the ADRC staff isn't delivering several meal routes. So that is something that if you all could help spread the word, if you know of people that might be interested, let us know. So, and that's really the report, the annual report. Again, I did not want to read this to you. You all can take this home and look at it and contact me if you have any questions. But I think it is just to look at the numbers, for example, of the social workers, the INA workers. So they had in this last year, they took 6,377 calls. So that's just to give you an example. Those calls, all of those calls are people that are calling the ADRC, and some are calling and wanting, it could be anything from tell me about food pantries, tell me about, I need a walker, how do I get a walker? I'm interested in knowing about heating resources. It could be anything, or it could be people that are just saying, gosh, I need more help in my home, and then that's that process of then those social workers do those functional screens and then get people enrolled in the family care programs. But over 6,000 calls, that's pretty incredible. That's a lot of volume, a lot of work and those are just those 3 social work positions that's what they're managing, so. Yes, Jeannie.
I just want to thank you and everybody at the ADRC for the amazing work that you do. And one of the things I really appreciate seeing happening is the intergenerational stuff that you guys are doing with bringing kids and our seniors together to do things and supporting each other. It's really amazing. So thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else have any questions, or?
I would also like to say, I've been on this committee for many years, and I have never seen, you have done you have brought so many things in that it's really moving. When years ago we were trying to put a magazine together, and we couldn't get sponsors. We had a hard time getting sponsors. And when she came on, my goodness gracious, you've got that whole book full.
You have to sign a contract too. You're not going to leave.
And she's done an excellent job.
I would agree with Dora.
And I'll jump in too and just say I've only been here a little over 4 months, but I think part of the reason why you see all of this here and why you've seen the results that you have is Melissa has a very strategic way of thinking and looking at things too. And so she looks at the big picture and she's very driven and how do I make this happen? And she's very passionate and that kind of thing.
She's got a young mind.
She does a great job, yeah.
Oh, that's kind. That's kind.
You can never leave.
But yeah, and really it is a staff that does the good work and the heavy lifting. So I will say that it is a staff that should be.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's a very good team.
It is incredible team.
I have a question because this is very, very new to me. So what I'm curious about is, are there ADRCs across the country? Is this a federal pro? I mean, because I'm a senior citizen, and I have never heard of you. You know what I mean? And so I'm trying to figure out where did you come from and how long has it been? You know what I mean? Because
Right.
I've never heard of you, and I'm 6. Well, anyway.
I can't really
I'm in
speak
that range.
I can't speak to the whole country.
Right.
But there is a ADRC in every county in Wisconsin. I know for sure there are ADRCs in Minnesota, but I don't know about the whole nation. That I don't know.
Well, and Trempealeau County was a pilot
Yes.
county back in, was it the 80s?
80s, I
maybe?
want to say.
Early
Does that
80s.
sound
In La Crosse
right?
County, where
Right.
they were.
Yeah, there were 3 pilot counties, I recall, when
I
this all
think
started.
in
So-
Wisconsin, we're one of the original kind of bragging rights there on that.
So is it a federal program? or
I'll
is-
just Google that right now.
Oh, okay.
And
probably
it's,
should've
it is
Googled instead of
it's
asked
a
you.
very complicated, the funding of the ADRC is very complicated. There are
Okay.
pots of money from a lot of different pieces. There are some federal, some state, and some county levy dollars that are put in. But what I have also heard people say is that I need to be here 5 years before I really will kind of have an idea of what I do. But to know one ADRC in Wisconsin is to know one ADRC. Because they're all very, very different. So some of the main or the core programs and services, such as the INA, social workers, every single county has that.
Okay.
One of the newest positions is a dementia care specialist position. So we, again, were one of the counties, we were one of the first to pilot that position, but now every county has a dementia care specialist. So they continue to, determine what counties are needing. They're, some of the funding, for example, like for the home-delivered meals, some of that funding has not increased in 40 years. So, we could be doing more if there were more funds.
Okay. I was just curious because I'm like, I struggled with trying to get, Medicare.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to understand the process.
Right.
Set that up. That's like a nightmare. And I thought to myself, it's a good thing that I have my faculty.
Yes, yes.
Because that is, it's awful
Yeah.
to me. I think it's a disgrace because you took
It's-
my money all my life, and now I got to fight to understand how this program
Yeah,
works.
it's
That
so
makes sense to me.
complicated.
I can tell you, I went to the ADRC when I was looking at Medicare and how to set it up and what possibilities were out there, because it is like a mine, it's like a field mine. I'm trying to get through it. And the information and referral person walked me through everything at the ADRC right here in this building.
That's
And
awesome.
so, and there is an elder benefits specialist, and so she specializes in that.
Wow.
When I talk about when we have great staff, our elder benefits specialist has been with our county too for, gosh, I don't know, 25 years. Rita Scraw. She's so excellent. And that's the thing, a lot of people don't know. This is a free service. You can go in and meet with Rita, and she can review all of the plans with you, help you make decisions about that. But in the state, they require every county to have that.
Really?
Yes, yes, but not everybody knows it. So that's what I feel like, that's
Okay.
why
Information
it has been so important for the ADRC to get that word out, to know, so that people know about it, right? So,
Okay.
Here is Kathy Gauger, who used to run the ADRC, is watching this on TV. Hi, Kathy. She just texted me and she said, I'm watching the ADRC council meeting. There is funding for every state, which I was just finding out because it grew out of the Older Americans Act. So she said some states use funding in different ways, maybe one office for the whole state, and our pilots was started in 1998. And love all the work Melissa is doing. So that's from your former predecessor for the ADRC.
He
So,
was very good.
and when I was looking this up, that money goes to every state, but not every state may call it the ADRC, and it's
Well, I think actually we were fortunate that we got more than, because we were kind of the beginning. And even now I understand we still get more than
do.
some other areas do.
And I think we've been so lucky because Stacy Garlick was the first director of the ADRC in Trempealeau County, and we've always had strong leadership. So we're very fortunate in Trempealeau County.
well, thank you, Kathy. Yeah, and somebody's listening to this, right? Gosh.
That happens in county board meetings. I'll get some. Listen to the meeting. Please talk about this.
Yeah.
Sounds wonderful. So thank you, Jay, for putting it all together. Thank you, Melissa, for highlighting the areas that are important. I mean, they're all important, but it's hard to go through a whole report in just a few minutes, and we can take them home and sit down with a cup of coffee and put our feet up and read through it and find out more. So, yeah, anytime you have questions, Melissa's there to answer them, and Jessica might even be able to answer a few of them. And when next time Melissa comes in and your face is panicked, she can say, okay, who called now? Yep, that'll be good. Just a preface to our next area, the senior dining expansion. I want to tell you that I was the only person that went to all of the dining sites back around Christmas. There was a contest that went on, and I won, yeah, because I was the only one. And it was a wonderful gift. I mean, you guys missed out. You really missed out. You got one? Okay. Yeah, the first time I went for a card, and somebody, they said, oh, you're the only one doing it. And then I went to the next one, and they said, oh, you're the only one doing it. And I thought, why are people not doing this? But every site has its own flavor, you might say. They're wonderful. The volunteers are great. You walk in and they know that you're not there on a regular basis, and so they're very outgoing, and they make you feel comfortable. And got to sit with Alan and Kathy at Blair at one of the sessions, and that was fun. Yeah, just going to every single one of them was quite an opportunity. So if you have an opportunity, call them and then go. The 5 different sites. It's really a nice experience.
Mr. Chair, I was able to get to one of them and strum with Jeannie and down there. That was a very. Only got the.
You didn't get to eat. Did you get to eat?
No, I'm not technically.
Old enough.
Oh,
Not technically, but it's still good to visit.
Yep.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
Yes, the gals at Pine Creek, they make the meal right there, and I happened to go for their Christmas special meal. My gosh, I mean, the
It's a
people.
meal.
Oh yeah, the people that go there say, "Oh, this is the best. This is the best." You just won't believe it. And we, as a committee, had gone to Pine Creek. Over the years, we went to a few sites when we first started. We took the bus, or people brought their cars, and yeah, we should do it again in this upcoming spring, maybe. And yeah, it was fantastic. And there are cliques. People sit with each other, and I literally went over. I was one of the first there, and I said, "Can I sit at your table?" And she said, "Well, there's a lot of gals coming down after Mass." And I said, "Well, I just want to talk to you for a little while. I'll move later." And so I went to, "Thank you, Alan. Take care. See you in a couple months." So I just kind of went from table to table for a little while, but everybody's friendly and it's fun. So get a chance to go, please do. So possibilities of Blair and Strum.
Yeah, and sometimes it works out where the Human Services Board meets actually before this council, and we did discuss Blair and Strum senior dining expansion last night at the board meeting, and they did approve a second day at Blair and Strum. So what I would like to just kind of, I feel like not everybody may be aware of this, but we have historically done, this is before COVID, we have done 3-year contracts with our food providers. So we really did not want to enter into any new contracts or new sites in 2023, knowing that those contracts would all be reviewed again for 2024. We'll be doing new requests for proposals and looking at everything starting this fall. So I look at that as being a task that I really would like this council to really start thinking about. I think it would be important if you are able to get out to some of the sites and see what they're all about. See what you think about them, because I think that's going to be the best way for you all to provide, to advise the board and to advise the ADRC staff about what we should be looking at. What do you want to see starting in 2024? So.
I second the motion.
Yeah. So he's been to all of them, so.
And I'll go back. I'll go back.
I think, have any of the others sites? Any of the rest of you been to any of the sites?
I think I've been to all of them, but I didn't do the Christmas holiday one.
I had good intentions, but there wasn't enough time to fit it all in. But I do intend to experience more.
You
But
know,
you've been to the Arcadia one?
Yes, yes.
Quite.
maybe
yeah.
we could have our meetings at all of them.
That's what we used
Because
to
we had
do.
we had a meet, I think that's how I got to most of them.
Yeah, I think I've been to 3 of them.
That was fun.
We wouldn't be
We had
able to
lunch.
include everybody from the TV audience to that. Well, we could invite you, I guess, and you could come and listen at the site
Right.
and then have lunch.
So I've been
Yeah, we
I
had
would like to
lunch
do
and then
that.
our meeting afterwards, so it was fun. At Pine Creek, I think that was the last time we had, the
Well,
last place we had a meeting in Pine Creek.
Well, what we could do, I'm just throwing out a suggestion, but right now, Blair is in their dining is getting ready to start. That's from 11:30 on Tuesdays until, it'd only take us 10 minutes to get there. So, I mean, we could conceivably head over there after our next meeting for those that were Strum 2. The only thing I'm just thinking, Blair is so close that we'd be able to get there pretty quickly, but it's just an idea. Kevin, I do also want to make and all of you aware, if you are under 60, you can pay a suggested donation and still have a meal.
assume,
Yeah.
I don't want to, come off like, push any
Mhm.
policies or even the appearance as a county board member. I don't want to play safe than sorry.
So I probably do need to just remind the site managers that, because I know there is a certain amount, the state gives us a formula to determine what that rate is for those that are under 60. I know it's $11 and some cents. So it is higher than, it's fairly high, but that is
Even $11 is cheaper than a lot of
yeah,
restaurants.
it's the rate that we did, it goes into what do we pay, people to make the meal, the equipment, all of those things. So just so you are aware of that, there is a the amount has been
You have to let
determined.
them know ahead of time that you're coming.
At all of our sites,
And
you
when I
do.
think I should go, I think, oh, it's too late to call them.
So how do you, if you want to get an actual meal, I can't just have to pay full price, will you call the dining site manager, or how does that
Right,
work?
yes.
And it's listed on the,
Yeah,
on the-
they would know the price, yes.
and then
I need to make sure they
have.
have that price.
Yeah, and
It
then
is
let 'em know
not
I'm
very
coming.
common, not a lot of people have been interested in that.
But it's good to know that there is that option.
Yeah, so for example, if you wanted to go with a friend or a family member.
Okay, because I say I wasn't for sure, because I don't want to go there and assume that, especially as a county board member, you want to be very careful, you're not saying one thing and doing another. So,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. So I guess, going back to just the Blair and Strum Senior Dining expansion, so the county board, or the Human Services Board would like us to start that in June. June is what we decided, I believe, June.
I think it's
yeah.
just wonderful. Strum, they're so gun-ho on everything, and here they're.
Is that right, Betty? Betty, did you hear what she said? She said in
I say
Strum, they're so
Strum is really gung-ho
gung-ho.
on everything. They pick up and take off with things.
They do.
Yeah.
And sometimes you sit around and talk for a long time.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
nothing wrong with talk.
No, I know. I keep forgetting to push my button. They're going to be mad at me.
So I don't know if there's any feedback that people would have, because now what I'm going to be doing is I'll be going to Sweet Temptations, which is the caterer, and then I'll be going to the sites. I need to make sure they've got volunteers. Is there any feedback that people would have about?
I'm 100% behind it.
Me too.
I'd love to see it expand.
I think it's so sad because some places say they only have 1 or 2, but it is starting to build up more. Now that spring is here, people can get out easier.
So when we talk about moving forward in 2024, what that's going to look like, I mean, what Dora Jean is saying, that is fact. If we look in, our newsletter does a really good job of outlining where the meals are and how often we're serving them. So those are the questions to ask. There's certainly some communities in our county that don't have meals. There's some that have 5 meals a week. There's some that have 2. And there's a lot of history of why that is the way it is. Some of it was affected by COVID and just things were unstable, right? But those are the questions we want you all to be, providing input to.
Well, I think you're doing a fantastic job. You're just really stirring things up.
So if you want to think about it a little bit, do that and then give Melissa a call. Otherwise, today, even after the meeting, if you have some input. Most of the communities that I've been to, they really enjoy what they have, and whether or not they can expand beyond, 2 days a week, it's hard to know. But Boondocks right now is the only one I think that does 5 days a week, and they were talking about even dropping back and not do Mondays or Fridays. But I'm not sure what they're saying now. That was just a comment I heard when I was there. Mm-hmm. But it is difficult, and I know when the cafe used to do 5 days a week, there were quite a few people that were there 5 days a week to take part in the meal. There's a lot of older folks that just don't want to cook much anymore, so they go and have a $4 meal. And the meals are always very good, so.
Yeah, some of the meal sites have really been used to provide education and those opportunities for socialization. For example, today after the Blair meal, so starting at 12:15, there is a movie that's being shown, so people can stay after the meal. In May, all of the meal sites were doing something special we're still in the planning stages, but for example, we're doing a sing-along after one of the meals in Strum. We've had some success with that. We've had students that have come in. They've done that at Arcadia. We've done that in Blair and in Strum, and the feedback has been good. Most of the diners choose to stay for those types of activity. So.
And the 25th, isn't it, that we're doing the
planning for the future?
Yep.
Correct. So that's one of our bigger events. If you look, and I have copies of the newsletter, you all should have gotten them. But on the front page is the Planning for the Future event. So it's another example of us really kind of planning around that senior meal, because we do know that if we are averaging about 25 people that are coming to the senior meal in Strum, a lot of those folks are going to stay for that because they're interested in that. And then we're also hoping then there's some more people that are going to come that wouldn't normally attend the event, and then maybe they'll come and try a senior meal. So we had the same event in Blair in October, and so hoping to have another event later this year at another community, and just kind of to keep it going.
I went to the one in Blair, and it was excellent information shared, and I'm planning to go to the one in Strum as well. Good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. Mm-hmm. I should be there. So. And
we're providing transportation. So most of our events that, like these larger events, we really want to make sure people have an opportunity to attend, and we don't want transportation to be a barrier for people. So.
And I'm riding on the transportation. So.
Is there
full
any
experience.
transportation they're putting together now?
Yes, so anybody that wants a ride would call Jessica. So the flyers that we're putting out, they just say call the ADRC, and yes, we'll give people a ride to and from that event.
But Extension 8 doesn't work anymore, right?
No, it's a new phone
Found
system,
that out,
so,
yeah.
okay, yeah.
So it's the same number, but all the expenses are changing?
There's only one, and there's a, number 1 is for nutrition and transportation, and number 2 is for all other calls.
So it's actually like that system cut down on.
It's simplified, it should be easier for people to navigate.
When you call the main courthouse, it's an automated voice, it's not Paul's anymore, not the, just a side note.
I think I'm in the wrong place. It's been for years. Okay, public comments. Melissa had shown me this, this flyer. Talks about, have you received calls from someone saying they're with Medicare, wanting your Medicare number? You're not alone. It's important to arm yourself with information and resources to help you protect, detect, and report Medicare fraud and abuse. So Senior Medicare Patrol, Friday, May 5th at 12:15 at the Wanik Center. So it'll give you an opportunity to test out the meal at the Wanik Center. They're wonderful. They're catered by the pub, the Ashley Pub, but Friday, May 5th. And come and eat, and then stick around for the meal, or for the Senior Medicare Patrol, preventing Medicare fraud.
What is
It's,
the date for the Wanik?
May 5th.
May 5th?
And she said the people that I've been working with this event, they said it's just good overall information about protecting your private information and scams. So it's just overall going to be really, I think, valuable information.
Heard about another one this morning on the news, the people pretending to be the IRS, especially now this week with, the end of tax season. The IRS will never call, they'll never text, and they'll never email. They will only mail things to you. So if somebody calls and says, I'm from the IRS, and, even if they push it and say, we'll have the police at your door in minutes, you say, fine, send them over. Send them over, I'll give you your address so they can come to you next. Yeah, that just happens all the time. And
One of my friends got one of those calls, and she says, oh, my brother's a policeman, and he's standing here, he will talk to you. They hung up.
Yep, yeah, I hang up a lot of, on a lot of those kind of things
I just got
now.
one this morning, and I didn't answer it. Any 800 numbers, and stuff.
Yeah.
Any other public comments today? Anything you'd like to share?
I think this has been a very good meeting.
Good.
A lot of knowledge.
What I'd like to say is, if there are things, before the next meeting that you would like on the agenda, certainly give me a call or stop in and let me know, okay? We want this to be as meaningful as can be, so,
Maybe we could set up some meetings again where we go to the sites, and after lunch, we could have our meetings.
Would, you think, Blair has enough room, I think. Do you think they would allow us to have a meeting there before, instead of trying to get there? We sometimes go overtime, but it'd be nicer just to be right there and have the meeting, and then just stay for lunch.
Yeah.
would you
I'm
like,
sure Strum has got enough room.
maybe we should vote on
Well,
it.
Strom
Sure,
definitely
that'd
has
be-
enough room.
Yeah.
So-
Blair does too. Yeah.
Yep, so,
Blair is in the old church, right?
Pine Creek has room because we've met there before.
Yeah, they got the whole basement there, their dining room.
yeah, even if they're doing a mass beforehand, which they often do, just meet in the basement, and they got plenty of tables down there, and you don't have to sit at the ones they've got set up for lunch, but just meet and then eat.
Meet
So,
and eat.
Meet and eat. So where would you like to meet and eat next meeting? Blair or Strum?
Whatever works for
Either would work, and what we could do is, Jessica has been helping make reminders for people, and so we could call, the day before, or the Friday before the meeting, to see who is actually going to be dining, so we would make the reservations.
You said Blair is there every day, every day?
No, Tuesdays, only Tuesdays, and we're hoping that we can expand it to 2 days starting for June. Yep. So if
How about
Tuesday, we could do
start
Strum or
at-
Blair.
Yeah, how about we start at Blair and then branch out from there for the
Sounds good.
next
Or we
meeting?
could start at Strum and work our way down the county.
It doesn't matter.
It would all be new for me, so.
Yeah,
Yep.
it'd be pretty new for me too, so I'm open.
I know
As a
where everything is.
relatively
in
new
Strum.
member of this committee.
Yep. Well, maybe we should start in Strum then.
Yep.
That way,
Sounds good.
Betty, you could just meet us there.
In Jeannie's territory, I know where that is, so.
And
the
if
Lutheran
people
Church
want
in
to
Strum.
carpool, like, people from the southern part could meet here in Whitehall and we could take a vehicle.
Somewhere from a more southern part, so maybe that'd be an option.
Yeah, instead of everybody driving separately. Sure.
I'm all for saving gas. and-
Yeah.
Me
and
too. It's
Green,
only 20
green.
minutes versus almost double that. I'm all for that.
Yep,
So probably, do we need like a motion then to do that?
sure.
So, do we?
You don't think?
Well,
The only thing I worry
okay.
about is just because then it wouldn't be televised.
Oh, right.
Well,
You know,
technically,
so I
maybe we
just,
should play it safe.
yeah, play it safe to
Okay.
just say that we decide that.
I'll entertain a motion that we go to Strum for our next meeting and also have a meal afterwards.
I so move.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second to go to Strum and provide transportation for some, reserve for the meal afterwards. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
So that will be in May.
That'll be in May.
No, June.
June.
June
13th.
13th.
Yeah, we're every 2 months now.
Oh, you're only every 2 months?
So those of you on television, come and join us at Strum. Have a good meal. It's catered by the Sweet Temptations. So is Blair, so,
And Sweet Temptations, I've eaten at their actual restaurant. It's a good place.
good food. Anything else for our consideration today? Thank you all for coming.
I'm glad
Thank
to
you
see you
on
on
the
board,
TV
Betty.
for tuning in to see us, and, yep, welcome to the group, Betty and Jay. It's good to see you here, too.
Yes.
Look
Don't
forward
you-
to other meetings. You can
don't
come
you
to
go
Strum
out
with us, too, if you'd like.
West for the winter?
Yeah, sounds
Will you
good.
quit that, huh?
I'm sure she'll be officially official
I
on pretty
I
sure
love
before then,
winter.
too.
I still got a lot of
Officially,
snow behind my
Yep.
house because it's on the north side.
Now, we've come to our end of our agenda, so I think that's an official adjournment. So thank you all for coming.
Thank you.